Hi, I'm Shawn, one of the members of PSOC, Photographic Society of Orange County. Just wanted to take a moment to show you a quick and easy way to create a Lightroom export preset for when you're submitting photos to the monthly meeting. For this demo, I'm going to be using Lightroom 5, the CC edition. I am a subscriber to the Creative Cloud, and so that's there. It's signing on. Okay, so once we're into Lightroom, we can go in after you've made your edits and you figured out which 3 or 4 photos, including your title slide that you're going to select to put into the monthly meeting. You can go down into your film strip and select a few photos. Here I have a couple of photos flagged that I just like, and they're just for this demonstration here. So I've got 4 photos here selected, and normally I would have one that I've already gone through and added some text to in Photoshop to be my title slide. Here I haven't done that, so we're just going to use one of these photos, perhaps the photo of the flower, to be the one that we use for our title slide. So once I have those 4 selected, I just go on to one of them, and I'm going to do a right click, go up to export, and then we're going to the export settings. Now I have one that's already saved, a user preset that I named PSOC, but we'll go through the export preset to kind of show you the settings that I used. Now once we're into the export settings, you can see that we have a number of different settings that we can play with. So we'll start here up at the top, export location. Now for the PSOC meeting, I like to set my export to choose folder later. Most of my presets I use this because each time I'm doing an export, I want it to save to a little bit different spot. Normally for PSOC, I will put in a folder that's specific to that particular meeting. Whether it be water, black and white, whatever it is, I'll have a particular folder that I'll put those photos in so I can find them later, so then I can send them in the email. So you can see here we have specific folders you can pick, so you can have the same folder every single time. You can have it put it in the folder that the original photo was in, but I find this is the most useful. So choose folder later. And once we're done and we hit export, it'll then give us an option to choose that folder. Down here we have a checkbox for add this to catalog. I don't want to add these to my catalog. They're just extra files. I'm exporting them. I'm going to use them once, and then that's going to be it. So I leave that one unchecked. Existing files, I put it to ask me what to do. Since I'm putting all my files into different folders each time, there should never be the instance where it's going to need to overwrite a file. So I just say ask me what to do in case there's an existing file, which would be surprising. So that is kind of just a way to check, hey, this is what's happening. I could, if I'm so confident that I'm never going to have folders in there, I can just tell it to say overwrite or skip or any of those things. But I just say, hey, just send me a little prompt if in fact I'm doing something wrong and I'm putting these perhaps in the wrong folder. So I say ask me what to do. Second is file naming. This is important because for PSOC we need to have our first initials and then 01, 02, 03, and so on, 01 being our title slide. So what I've done here is I've checked the box for rename to, and I've gone into custom settings. I don't want to use any of these, file name with sequence, any of that. I want it to be my first initial was an S, and my second initial, which is a B, and then 01, and so on. So go to custom settings, select my custom text, and I put SB0, and then it will go from there 1, 2, 3. Now if I'm exporting more than 10 photos, I would just put my first initials in here, and then under start number I'd put 01, and then it will pick up 01, 02, 03, which I could do here, but since I'm only ever putting in just the 4 photos, I put in the 0 here, and that way I just have to make sure I just have a 1 in the starting number. So it shows you an example down here. The extensions, that's just personal preference if you like them uppercase or lowercase. All mine are lowercase. So with that, video, we're not doing video, we're just doing photos, so that's not important. File settings. So I select here, image format, JPEG, 100% quality, I want these to look their best. The color space I use is sRGB, and I don't put a limit to the file size. It generally doesn't generate a very large file size because when we get into the image sizing later, That's going to have more to do with how big our files are getting. Now, if we are getting large files that are having issues with email, then in here you'd want to select this and then put a number, maybe like 1024. That'd make it a 1 meg file, something along those lines. But I don't generate too large of files using this preset, so I just leave that one unchecked. Under image sizing, I'm going to click resize to fit. I'm going to select long edge. So regardless of whether the orientation is landscape or portrait, it's going to only go up to 1,000 pixels. I've set it here to be no longer than 1,000 pixels. So when it resamples the image for export, that's going to be what the long edge will be. The resolution I leave at 240. There's no need to have more than 240. You could do less, but these are just one-shot deals. The files aren't going to be that large, so 240 is fine. Output sharpening. Now you should sharpen your photos when you're in Lightroom or Photoshop or whatever you're using. I also use the sharpening for the screen. I'm not printing out to matte paper or glossy paper. It's going to be viewed on a screen or a projector, which is still going to be considered a screen. And I just do a standard amount. It just adds a little bit of pop. It doesn't do anything crazy. Just kind of gives you a little bit more in there. So now we have here under metadata, I just select all metadata. You can put just copyright information or contact information, stuff like that. This is just going to the guys, in the meeting to put into a slideshow. I'm not too worried about it. So I just put all the metadata in there. You can have it remove location information in case your camera has, GPS. Maybe you took these with your smartphone. Or maybe you have a nicer camera that actually has a GPS module built in, or an external one, and you have that GPS information. You can remove this in case it was a photo you took at your house or at a school or something like that, and you just don't want that information. So you could have it remove it. I don't mind it being in there. I don't have any sensitive information that I'm worried about. So, but you can remove it. You can have it write the keywords to the Lightroom hierarchy. I don't do that. I don't use keywords. So there's that. Watermarking. Don't watermark your photos. That's all I'm going to say on that one. Post-processing. So this is going to be, so after it's done exporting, what do you want Lightroom to do? I want it to show me the folder in Windows Explorer. I could have it do nothing, and then in which case it just exports and then it's just done. I say, show me these files in Windows Explorer. And the reason for that is because I'm going to be emailing these to have them put into the slideshow each month. So I want to have these on a folder on my screen, and so this is the best way to do that. If you were exporting it to an application, perhaps you have a mail client, like Outlook or something, you can go in here, open a different application, and then point it to your Outlook. So that might be a smart thing to do as well. And once you're done with that, you can then choose the application that you want it to pick to, i.e. Outlook, and it will open that program for you once you're done exporting, and it kind of saves you, maybe that saves you a step. I use Gmail, so it's a web client, so I'm going to go into my Chrome browser and access it that way, so that's not a problem. Okay, so now that I have all that set up, what you want to do is click Add over here and save this as a preset. You can save it as, PSOC, monthly meeting, whatever it is. I just use PSOC. I have it put into my user presets, so then I always have it. Since I already have this one, I'm not going to create this one now, but that's how you do that. And then once you're done, you'll have it in here under your presets, so you can go back in at any time later, just click that real quick, and it updates all these settings. So if you ever forget a setting, you already have them saved in here. Works really well. So now let's go ahead and export these 4 files for us to use to send them off for the monthly meeting. Here's the choose folder that we did right up front when in creating our export preset. We said, we want to choose the folder where to save these files. And so right now, it's Lightroom's asking, where do you want to save these files? So we'll come up here, we'll go into my library, or we'll go over here. I'll save it in my library, my 2014 photos. In here, I'm just going to create a folder called PSOC. And these will be where I save all my meeting photos. And so then in here I'll have a different folder for each month with, the particular meeting that we're having, like I said before, whether it's black and white photography, architectural, whatever it is, then I'll just have the different folders in here. And here I'm just going to create a folder called Export Preset. And that's just for showing you what we're doing here. So now I'm going to select that folder, hit Select Folder. Okay, now you can see up here that it's exporting our files and it's giving it the name that I gave it. I believe it names the files in the order in which they were taken or placed in your film strip, so from left to right. So you can see these 4 photos down here that I selected. I'm pretty sure that it's going to put them in the order of 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now you can see here, the folders popped up. We asked it, please show us these files in the Explorer when you're done. Here it is. And in fact, it has named them 1, 2, 3, 4 in the order they showed up in my film strip. I don't believe it matters if you select them. If I want this flower to be number 1, and I select that one first, and then I select these other photos, I don't believe it matters. It's what the order is in the film strip. So now that we have them up here, we can rename them as we need to. I believe earlier I said I want the flower to be my title slide. So what I'm going to need to do is rename this something slightly different, and then I will make this my SB01, so it will be my title slide, and then I'll make this one my SB03. Let's refresh that. Okay, we've got all those saved. I have these little orange dots. That means these are pending to be backed up to my cloud server. So now once I'm done with that, I can just then go into my Gmail or whatever your email client is, put these into just drag and drop these right into my email, send them off, and then they'll show up in the meeting for that month. Hope you guys found this interesting and useful, and hopefully it speeds up your workflow a little bit and makes things a little easier for you each month when you're preparing to send photos for the monthly meeting. If you'd like, you can follow me on the various social networks. I have links over here on the right to my G+, my Facebook, and my Twitter accounts. And also, please leave a comment in the comments box below letting me know if you found this useful. I want to do more of these, and I just want to see if these are going to be useful for you guys. And if you have any other comments, suggestions, or tips, please feel free to push those along to me as well. So I just want to thank you guys for watching, and please let me know if there's anything I can do to help you make better photos. Thanks.